Hello, world. How's everyone doing? How are you feeling? My hope is joyful, inspired, seen, heard, and cared for. So, welcome back to What You Raving About podcast. This is episode 3, y'all. Episode 3. And of course, I'm still a baby. I'm still learning as I go. So, still no edits. We're doing raw. So, whatever mishaps may happen in between, you guys are getting it live full here. Well, not live because it's pre-recorded, but you guys are in this with me. So if I stumble, I'm gonna keep going. If something happens outside, I'm gonna keep going. If the doorbell rings, I'm gonna keep going. Somebody calls who's never on my do not disturb list, I'm gonna keep going. So yes, episode 3. 2 daughters, 2 dads. So on this episode, what I'm going to do is talk about how I became a single mom / single parent, 2 daughters, 2 dads. So before I dive in, if this is your first time listening, I want you guys to know. So one thing that I do in the beginning of each episode is I provide you guys with a vocabulary word. And I try to use that vocabulary word in the podcast episode. So today's word is indolent. 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 It's an adjective and it means lazy. So that shouldn't be hard to do to incorporate indolent into the story and the back history that I'm about to provide you guys with today. So real quick, I have a vocabulary app on my phone. So what I do is when I open the app and whatever word pops up, that's the word I go with. I don't go through the app trying to figure out, oh, well, maybe no. So far, I've been able to, actually last episode, mental health, I forgot what the word was, but I didn't incorporate it. So, oops. But indolent, that's the word we're going with for today. So let's dig into 2 daughters, 2 dads. So, little background history about myself. I have 2 daughters, a 12-year-old and a 3-year-old. And a brief backstory of my 12-year-old's daughter. So we met in college. He played football. I was just a girl attending, whatever. And, he kept trying to holler at me. And I'm like, oh, no, thank you. I really wasn't interested at the time, right? But at the time, I had short haircut. Short little hairstyle with my curls and all that, my little taper back. So he started calling me Fanny. Short for Fantasia. So, I had the short haircut. I got the lips. I don't got the vocals, y'all. But he started calling me Fanny. And I thought that was cute, whatever. So, he kept trying. I'm like, oh, no. And then after a while, I started giving him some play. So we started dating. And apparently, when you're young, you don't ask the right questions when you start talking to somebody, even before you start dating them. You don't ask the right questions to dig into that. At least I know I didn't. So let me speak for myself. I didn't ask the proper questions to get a feel for who this guy was at the time, right? So we were dating, whatever. And I remember, he never mentioned anything about a girlfriend or having children, nothing. Now, mind you, we're like 18, 19 years old. So for me, the thought of somebody having children that young was just not even in my mind, right? So we started dating or whatever. And a few months later, I was pregnant. But I can't remember the exact time frame, but I know being in my apartment and me and my homegirl, my roommate, Nene baby, hey, I started doing the Facebook creeping first. And then I started to get her input on stuff. But I remember being on Facebook and I'm creeping on his Facebook page or whatever. And I see his sister, one of his half sisters, with these kids. But he's in the picture, it's like an Easter picture. And I'm like, these kids kind of look like him a little bit. Maybe they his nieces or whatever. Can't remember what the caption said. But whatever it was kind of like, question mark, right? So I keep digging. Now I find a third child, right? So I can't remember how I presented it to him and how we talked about it, but I remember he did admit that he had 2 children and the third child was not his. So at this point, I'm like already pregnant, y'all. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do this, I guess, right? So first red flag was, now we both were from the same state, but not the same city inside the state. And actually, I have never even heard of his city prior to even dealing with him. But so, you know, he would go home, and then when he went home on the weekends, that phone will be off. Like, it didn't even ring. It was straight voicemail, right? Another red flag, a red flag. But, you know, he would come back and tell me the sob story, blah, 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 blah. So I just believed it, right? Young and dumb. So fast forward to, now I'm getting like friend requests and all that. Everybody wants to know who I am. And I remember being in his dorm room one day and his phone rang and I went to try to get it and he straight up choked me out. In the dorm room. Choked me out. Like, choked me out to the point, like, it was short-lived, but the pain in my neck was like, it lasted for a few days, right? Another red flag. So, you know, fast forward, now we're back home. It's the summertime and I'm growing. Belly's growing. I'm arguing with females. I'm starting to find out a lot of things that I should have known prior to even allowing him to touch me. Young and dumb. So, arguing with girls, I'm arguing with him. It became very toxic. And, you know, at this time, I was being warned by people like, you know, he's an abuser, he got kids, da, 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 da. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to bat for him pretty much. So let's fast forward to December 29th. I had my 12-year-old daughter the morning of December 29th. Right in time for New Year's, right? So her dad, he had to go have a New Year's Eve party. Had a New Year's Eve party and someone ended up getting murdered at his house. Somehow that tragic incident turned into him moving in with a previous mother, baby's mom. And they were like a whole family again. So here I am, fresh, brand new baby, brokenhearted, confused, just out here living with my mom, just confused and like, so I don't know what happened with that relationship, but then we end up getting back together and we had a pretty toxic on and off relationship. Now, when I say toxic, there was verbal abuse, there was physical abuse on both ends. Like, we would fight, and I don't mean just argue, throwing things. I mean like throwing fist fighting to the point where like I'm messed up and I'm bruised, he's bruised. Like, we don't talk for a few hours, then here we are back again. It's toxic. That went on for a period of time, off and on. Then, you know, fast forward a few years later, now we're engaged. And like, I mean engaged, like wholeheartedly engaged, like stepdad bought a wedding dress. I had bridesmaids get measured and fitted. Like, we're looking at halls for receptions. Oh, none of that shouldn't even took place. None of it. But it did. So engaged, never married, still to present day. So, you know, after that, well, before that, my final straw was he was dealing with this young girl, like younger than us. Now, at this point, this probably was like 2014. So we're like 23, 24, 25. I don't remember exact time frame. But he's dealing with like this young girl, like not even 18 yet. And he ended up giving me an STD. And that for me was just like, I'm done. Because at this point, we done fought. The cops have been called. You have been in jail. I have been jumped. I had to get 6 stitches under my eye. I still got a keloid. It pops up every now and again. 6 stitches under my eye because one of his other child's mothers and her 3 friends decided they wanted to jump me outside of his house, right? So when I say toxic, it was toxic. Like, and looking back on it, it was like, I didn't make the best choices because ideally he was not someone that I should have given the time of day. And I'm not trying to belittle nobody or bash anybody. I'm telling my truth. I'm telling my side of the story here. But the plans I had for my life, the goals I even have till present day, we never really aligned. Like, we never fit. And so here we are in this situation, and I am baby mom number 4. My child is number 4 out of 6. So 6 kids, 5 baby moms. So end up letting that be. Now, in between all that time, he pretty much had an on and off relationship with our daughter as well. So it's kind of like if we weren't together, he wasn't providing or doing or watching, wasn't being a father hands-on at note at all. And I remember one winter, it was like around Christmas, me and his mom had words. And as I'm on the phone with my mom, she said in front on her porch, she said to me that my child was one of many. And since birth, that's how my child has been treated, one of many. And, they only came around for one birthday party. And that party was like, she was like 8, 9 maybe. Because they thought her life was in danger and she was being abused and she wasn't being properly taken care of and all this stuff. So baby shower, no. Birth, yes. And I think birth was kind of like, let's see if this baby looked like us or something. Because we already got all these other grandkids running around. I don't know what the motive behind that was. But birth, yes. Birthdays 1 through 7, no. Birthday 8, yes. Birthday 9 through 12, And one thing for me that always never set right with me, because his side of the story is, oh, she keep her from me, I can't see her. My child is 12. She had her own cell phone since she was 4. You know where I stay, my mama stay, my brother stay. If you were really in a dire need to be hands-on like you proclaim, that I was rejecting you, that bond, you could have popped up. You could have called her phone. You could have sued me for custody. There were so many avenues that could have been taken instead of just pointing the finger like, oh, she's bitter, whatever the case, whatever they were saying. But I know for sure I was keeping her from them, right? So here we are present day, and we live in a different state. And you would think things would get a little better because we're in a different state. No. And it's kind of like he'll call, and if he calls, they talk less than 60 seconds, right? Literally. And it's like for you to not talk or see your child as often as you could, even if you wanted to, a phone conversation should be, hey, we got to catch up. But it's like, oh, yeah, oh, that's what's up. Okay, baby, all right, proud of you, love you, bye. And that's that, right? But at this point, it is what it is kind of thing. So, I'm immune to it by now. And I know my daughter has expressed things to him and his mom, and nothing has changed. So that's child 1. Now let's go to child 2. And real quick disclaimer, this is not me trying to bash or belittle anybody or throw anybody under the bus. This is me telling my truth, my side of the story. And if you don't like it, change it. Change my perspective, change my view, change my words, change the way that I view and outlook the situation. And then I won't have a story to tell. Or you won't have to feel like I'm bashing you or, throwing you under the bus or tainting your character or integrity or anything like that. But for the folks who know him, they know. So fast forward, 2019, got a new job, was working at this place. And I seen a guy that I also knew from college, but it was kind of in college. It was more so like a party thing. Like we were at the same parties drinking and whatever. Nothing, like never even looked his direction ever. And so, you know, we start, hey, you know, catching up, talking and whatever. And I was like, okay, you're pretty cool, you're attractive, you know, you got your stuff together. All right, let's just chit chat, see where it goes and all that stuff. So my story, it was going good. Now, apparently, according to what I heard, it was told his perception was something different, right? So, but this was after the fact he was mad about some stuff. So anyway, so, you know, we're dating, we're traveling. Me and Deja ended up moving in with him. Me more so moving in than Deja, but Deja was there and she stayed the night frequently, whatever. So, you know, we're traveling different states and, you know, meeting each other's family and all that. I thought that's what couples did. But apparently, I never was his girlfriend. So anyway, so we're doing all this stuff, you know, and at the time when I met him, he was pretty open about having a female roommate. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, didn't think nothing of it. You were honest about it, first date kind of thing. That's something you didn't have to tell me. Da, 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 da. So for me, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Because you haven't shown me that you're a liar or you're deceitful or I can't trust you. So until you prove otherwise, then I have nothing but your word and your actions to go off of, right? So the roommate thing was totally fine with me until we met each other. The day we met each other was something different. And of course, everybody has their own perception, their own side of the story, right? But it was real, like didn't see me, talking over me, like, okay, to the point where he was uncomfortable and he apologized for it. And I'm like, yeah, that was awkward. Something's different. Something's up. Like, I had been there so many times and we never crossed paths. And then it's time for me to be there. And the introduction was fine. The way he produced it was fine. But her response to it was different. It was like shady. And he knew it because he apologized several times to me. And at that moment, not at that moment, but shortly after that, we talked about it. I'm like, you know, I don't think I can do this. Like, something's off here. And, you know, he's reassuring me it's nothing like that. Like, she needs a place to stay. She's paying $450 a month to rent this room. Da, da, da. She always got these different men running in and out. They in the driveway. He was pretty much slandering her, right? And I'm like, so why are you allowing this to go on in your house then? Like, she got all these dudes. Why can't she live with one of them? So I stuck around, right? And things kept happening. Weird things kept happening. Now the door's locked, and I had a key, but the screen door locked. I can't get in. You come downstairs with no shirt on and your boxers with your little poking through, and while she up there getting dressed to go out, and then she leaves out, and you're upset about who she's leaving out with, and I'm just like, red flag, red flag, red flag, right? But again, one thing I noticed is men will try to manipulate you to make it seem like the things you're feeling or like that gut instinct is incorrect. And us as women, we want to believe it, so we do, right? But that gut feeling is like, sis, now you know. But they're in your ear. It's like that gut feeling, and then they're in your ear. And because you want to give people the benefit of doubt, you do. And you give them the benefit of doubt, and 9 times out of 10, you're the one left stuck on stupid, looking stupid, picking your face up off the cement, right? So anyway, let's move on with the story. So things kept happening, and just weird stuff. Like stuff that if y'all are only roommates, things like this shouldn't be. And and now here's the messy thing, because he would tell me the things she would say. And I'm like, but if she doesn't have a problem, why is she saying these things? Why is she doing these things? And he just, I don't know, right? So after a while, Super Bowl weekend, after he's like, she's not invited to the party, but she freely came down to the party. And after he said he didn't invite her, she wasn't invited. She knew that. She was going somewhere else. So she was friends with one of his cousins. So I guess that's how they met, whatever. Now, everybody's at the party. I'm like, well, what are you doing here? Because he said you wasn't invited. You were going somewhere else. So that ended up turning into a private conversation in his bedroom. And after that conversation, Will pretty much was like, first of all, he played both sides of the fence. I will say that, which I found that out in that private conversation we had. He was playing both sides of the fence, but he was messy. He was messy. So after that conversation, I guess she felt some kind of way about it. You know, she got her friends. Now her friends are thinking that I'm the jealous person and I just want her out because I'm jealous of her. Now, if you knew the backstory and all that stuff, there would be no reason for me to be jealous of her at all. Like, sis couldn't pay $450 a month to rent a room. I have a 6-figure job. I'm jealous of you. Why? Anyway, so like 2 days after that, the party, he ended up writing her pretty much like a 30-day notice, like, you gotta go. She ended up leaving on some real slick stuff, kept the key, didn't say she was leaving, kind of just left while we both was at work. And we ended up going on vacation, right? So while we are on vacation, now prior to leaving for vacation, I didn't feel well. Like, we left, I think Tuesday, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I was just different. My body was just, something was wrong, right? And I kept pushing it off. Oh, it's just the flu or something. You know, I'll get over it. And it's like as the days went on, it got worse. I went like fevers to chills and shaking, and like to the point where I'm shaking and he has to kind of like bear hug me because I couldn't stop shaking. I felt like, I don't know what death feels like, but if I had to correlate that or compare that to anything, whatever that was, I was close to death, right? And I just kept pushing through it, just kept popping ibuprofen and Tylenol, just pushing through it. So here we are at my family's house, right? And his phone kept tinging and dinging and all this stuff. I'm like, who is that? Now it's his cousin. It's his cousin who's friends with the roommate. So now his cousin is texting him screenshots and letting him know, like, hey, she's talking about filing sexual harassment charges on you. So now the cousin is screenshotting like conversations between them. Now I'm sitting on my uncle's couch. I already feel like shit. Excuse my language. Sorry, this is not a vulgar podcast. But I'm sitting on the couch. I already feel like crap. I have no idea what's going on. I don't even care. And it's to the point where I was like, no, I will handle it. It's okay. I'm fine. I'll get through it. Like, it is as suffering as I felt. That doesn't even make sense. But as close to death as I felt, I never wanted to go to the hospital. That's like my neck being broke, and I'm just like I'll be fine. Just let me lay here for 5 to 7 days. I'll heal. But I never wanted to go to the hospital. And then we're in a different state. Like, I didn't got time for that. So I feel all these different kind of the sickness. Now I'm frustrated. I'm upset because I knew what I was feeling was correct, right? And we're sitting there and like we're like arguing through text message, sitting next to each other. And my mom called me, and she's like, Uncle Skip is dead. He's dead. Your dad passed away. Now, that's a whole different backstory. But if you know my life, I have a biological dad. My dad, in and out of my life, he's not the person that I first will identify as my dad. Now, we're cool. I have his last name, you know, all kind of things. But because of his inconsistencies and other stuff, I just don't. My uncle dad is my dad. Period. And my dad's okay with that. But to have gotten that news within 10 minutes of getting this news, within days of feeling like this, it's like, what? Right? Like life. Life was lifing. And that wasn't even a phrase back in 2019. But life was lifing, y'all. So we end up staying what, 2 more days. And it's funny how the universe worked, because my Uncle Dad's son was in Philly. It's like the way the universe correlated everything. It's like God knew. He knew all this was happening. I'm gonna make you sick, so you're not able to have a hands on it, anything, because you're not gonna be able to take it. So I'm gonna sit you down. I'm gonna have his son in Philly so he can get to Pittsburgh. I'm just gonna rock y'all world a little bit, but y'all all gonna come together and it's gonna be good, because nobody's gonna be kind of inconvenienced about anything. So anyway, my Uncle Dad's son, my cousin, was in Philly visiting his friends or something. So when we left at the time, my boyfriend's sister's house, we went to other place in Philly, picked him up, and we drove back home. So we drove back home. It was a Thursday. Now at this point, everybody's now at my Uncle Dad's house, cleaning stuff out, looking through stuff, just doing stuff, right? And I'm just still just like dead. I don't feel good. I'm grieving. My heart is broken. Just confused. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. I was 1,000 different emotions that day, and days before and days after. So here we are. And I don't know. I just found the thermometer, took my temperature. My temperature was 103.6, y'all. 103.6. So at this point, everybody's in the house like, you got to go to the hospital. Like, you already moping and dragging around. And I think like, you know, when somebody's sick around, it's like, oh, like, you cool. Like, they'll be all right. I think it was kind of that thing. That's why everybody's like, she's fine. Like, just sit down right here, drink this water. You fine. But when I took my temperature and it was so high, it's like, you got to go get checked out, right? So go to the emergency room. Y'all, I had sepsis. Now, for those who don't know what sepsis is, according to the CDC, and I don't have my glasses on, y'all, so please forgive me. I swear I know how to read. But according to the CDC, sepsis is the body's extreme response to an infection. It is a life-threatening medical emergency. Sepsis happens when an infection you already have triggers a chain reaction throughout your body. Infections that lead to sepsis most often start in the lung, urinary tract, skin, or gastrointestinal tract. Without timely treatment, sepsis can rapidly lead to tissue damage, organ failure, and death. Also, according to the CDC, at least 1.7 million adults in America develop sepsis. At least 350,000 adults who develop sepsis die during their hospitalization or discharge to hospice. 1 in 3 people who dies in a hospital had sepsis during that hospitalization. So I had sepsis. This is March 2019. I had sepsis. I also had coronavirus. Now, everybody knows coronavirus didn't become global until 2020. I had coronavirus. And when I was like, what is that? Coronavirus. I'm like, how do you say it? Coronavirus. And I'm like, how do you spell it? They're like the beer, coronavirus. And I'm just like, I'm dead. I'm dead already, because I don't feel like I'm even a human being. I'm like zombie mode, right? And so I had sepsis, blood infection, coronavirus. I was 4 weeks pregnant. Now, prior to all this, in 2017, I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, which is pretty much an inflammatory disorder that can affect any and all organs. So when it started out for me, I had it in my eyes, and I just kept thinking I was getting pink eyes because I was working at a school. I was a teacher. So none of these kids got pink eye. None of these teachers got pink eye. But here I am, keep with this reoccurring thing. So end up getting further testing done and all this stuff. I had it in my eyes, and it started to affect my skin. And I didn't have the lung issues that's like pretty much attached to sarcoid. I didn't have all the but all the life-threatening breathing issues. So here I am in the hospital. Uncle Dad's passed. It's been 2 days now. I've been being cheated on for Lord knows how long and lied to my face. Now I have sepsis, coronavirus. I'm 4 weeks pregnant, and I'm just a ball of mess. My blood pressure was critically low. My fever was high. It was a lot going on, right? But for whatever reason, that time frame, higher power had to sit me down, because I wouldn't have been able to handle arrangements and doing this and picking stuff and caskets, and that would have took me out alone. But also in that was my second daughter, which, again, I had sarcoidosis. I was taking methotrexate. You Google methotrexate, that's a powerful drug. One, I should not have been able to conceive on that. If I did conceive, my child should have developed some kind of birth defect and should have passed prior to birth, or would have been born with a birth defect. My child is 3. And the only thing going on with her is she bossy. So for me, it's like, take life, give life. God takes life, he gives life. And for whatever reason, I had to feel all those things. The timing of everything was just, it was ridiculous, right? So anyway, you fast forward, and I had to quarantine while funeral arrangements was being made. I got out the hospital, I think like the day or two before the funeral, the wake, and I just attended. And I sat there and I was grieving and I was still sick and I was just a ball of mess. I was upset. And it's like, how do you forgive somebody who you put all your trust in? And they really just, they just like backhand you. Things I want to say, I can't say because this is a clean podcast. But, you know, fast forward, we buried my Uncle Dad, and I tried with dude, and I was just miserable. And there was a lot of other things going on. Like, he was texting one of his exes that he was engaged to, and it was constant arguing. And now, like, he always drank a lot, right? That was a red flag. And like beating up the dog for pooping in the floor and throwing stuff and putting holes in china closets, like china cabinets. He was very aggressive. He's dealing with some childhood trauma that has not been addressed, that everybody sweeps under the rug, including himself, and he just resorts to drinking. So things got worse. And then here we are arguing, and you tell me, like, because of who your family is, it's nothing for me or my family members to end up like my Uncle Dad. So after that threat, things went left. Now we having police involved because you're threatening my life. You've already been showing aggressive signs. You already done headbutted me. Literally headbutted me. And he went to work and created this story that I'm biggest, and everybody agreed because I'm big as hell. I'm beating on him. Like, it, pretty much everything he done to me, he went to work and flipped the story and told it a different way. So he was playing victim. So, and we worked together. So being that we worked together and he had more rapport there, guess whose bandwagon everybody jumped on, right? So here I am pregnant. I got all these rumors going on. I got people wanting to fight me, don't like me, all kind of things because of his side, his falsified side. So we were done. Fast forward, November 18th, 2019, I gave birth to a healthy 8-pound baby girl naturally. So since November 18th, 2019, I have been a single mom, single parent, depending on which child I'm talking about. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the way my life turned out. Did I expect things to happen like this? Absolutely not. Did I expect to be the girl with multiple kids, multiple baby dads? Absolutely not. But guess what? I'm 2 for 2, so I can't strike out. So the next one, we in it till death do us part. Okay? Because 3 for 3, then I turn into 4 for 4. Same Wendy's, bro. So anyway, so now the sad thing about the situation here is, yes, I have 2 daughters. The circumstances and relationships didn't work out with their fathers. But I have 1 child who barely ever talks or sees her dad. And then I have another child who talks to her dad every single day and sees her dad frequently. Like her dad is hands-on, even in a different state. We had, dance shows dad drove down. Other dad wasn't even aware that there was a show going on because he don't call, don't text, nothing. Dad's present, birthday parties, dad's hands-on, hospitals, whatever. If something's needed, dad is there. And then we have my other child who, if we don't call him first to say, hey, bop, 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 he has no idea. So recently me and him were talking, and I let him know, I caught him up on a couple things, and I'm like, she had my oldest daughter had a concussion from her birthday, and his response was like, damn, don't nobody tell me nothing. It's like, well, you don't call, bro, and no one is chasing after you. You're well aware that you have this daughter. You're well aware you have her phone number, her Instagram page. You're well aware that she's old enough to talk to. You can call her. No one's chasing after you to say, hey, remember me, I exist. Hey, remember me, I'm sick. Hey, remember me, I need $20. Hey, remember me, I don't have school clothes. Hey, remember me, my birthday's coming up. Hey, remember me, I'm just alive. It's just a Wednesday morning. Hey, no one's doing that. I'm not. And it's not me forcing anything up on her. She has her own phone, her own judgment. She's seeing things for what they are now instead of what she wants them to be. And it's sad because, again, my youngest child's not here right now. She's back in Pennsylvania with her father, but my oldest daughter's here. If she does go home, she goes to my mom's house. Every now and again, if she's fortunate, her dad will call or stop by or pick her up for the weekend or something. But then that's still short-lived. He has like a in and out double Dutch relationship with her. And as much as he says, oh, I can do better. Yeah, but when? Because sis is 12. She's 12, and we've been dealing with this since she was born. She was only hours old when you had to go have a New Year's Eve party. She has had multiple birthday parties, and you haven't been there. You're on child support, and you don't pay it. But you live your best life. Your other children see you all the time. You do for them when you want to. You can walk out your front door, and they're there. Hey, Dad. It's not like that for my child. But again, it was stated that she's one of many, and that's how she's treated. So, will I do anything different? No, because these are lessons, and they're growing pains. And it's teaching me patience. It's teaching me that I'm all they have. So we all we got. And we're learning and growing through this together. And it used to be frustrating for me, but it's not anymore. I've grown so accustomed to it that it feels like normal. Up until it's a function at school. And you see children of all ages coming in with both parents. Even if it's just drop off. Both parents. And then there's just me. Birthday parties. Both parents. And then there's just me. Teacher conferences. Both parents. And then there's just me. And then let me have my 3-year-old and you're looking at all of us, you can tell they have different dads. I have a chocolate baby and a vanilla child. But it is what it is. These are the cards that God has dealt me. And a lot of people will ask, well, how is it heaven? You was almost out the way. She was 9, because they're 9 years apart. Yeah, they're 9 years apart. But the only thing for me is that's what aches my heart, is because I feel bad that my oldest child gets to see my youngest child go off and just live her best life with her dad. Even if they're not doing anything, she's still spending time. And for my oldest, she doesn't have that luxury. Even after crying and begging and pleading and speaking her piece to her dad and her grandma, she still doesn't have that peace. She still doesn't have that love. She still doesn't have that, hey, I'm just calling to see how you are. Do you need anything? I know school's coming. Can I send you a notebook? Do you need pencils? Do you need pens? How are you? I love you. But when she's around, oh, baby, I love you so much. And it's like, for me, it's like if you, like, you're fronting. You're fronting. But I let her pick and choose because she's 12. So have I asked her how she's felt about that? No, because I don't want to. If she's not thinking about it, I don't want to bring it up. But now that I'm bringing it up and she's here, I want to know about it. So, Deja.
Yes.
Can you come in for a second? You got clothes on?
Yeah.
Child, what you doing today? Okay.
I just took it out.
All right. Come here. Come on. Scoot past a little bit. You gotta make yourself seen a little bit. So
Okay.
I'll move over. We can share the chair.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, child. Okay. Oh, all right.
Sorry.
So this is my 12-year-old. Here's the camera. I need you to look at the camera. People can see.
Okay.
She pimpled up, y'all. Puberty. But so, of course, you know my podcast is about 2 daughters, 2 dads.
Yeah.
So my question to you, and I want you to give your honest answer. Don't give what you think I want to hear or what the audience wants to hear. How do you feel? How can I ask this? So you and Leah having separate dads, do you feel anything, or does it make you feel any kind of way that Leah is like hands-on with her dad and you're like not so much hands-on with yours? Does anything between the way Leah is treated make you feel any kind of way? And be honest.
It used to, but now I kind of just got over it, because you have to accept the fact that things won't change.
Things won't change, like what?
Like being more hands-on and being more present, that won't change.
That won't change for who?
That won't change for me.
You and who?
Me and my father.
Okay, go ahead.
And I just learned to accept the fact that he'll never be hands-on, and that I have to continue with my life.
But does that make you sad that Leah has something that you don't?
A little bit, yes.
I'm sorry, I don't want to, I never asked this question because I don't want to stir up any emotions that maybe you wasn't even thinking about it, and then I said something and it's like,
think about it,
yeah, and then like, like now you look here like want to pluck Leah because you walk around plucking on her because she just came from her dad. So.
No.
So you would do it or no?
Yes.
You're a little must. That's my little must. But yeah, is there anything else you want to share, or if your dad was listening, or even your grandma or anybody on that side of the family, is there anything you want them to know, or you just like whatever?
Just like whatever.
Okay. Well, y'all, she's 12. I ain't got no gun to her head. I ain't force her to say anything. Disclaimer, she's her own little young lady person, and that those are her feelings. So I mean, for me, it is what, okay, you can go ahead.
Okay.
For me, it is what it is kind of thing, because you have to accept people where they are. And for some people, people may live all kind of wild, crazy lives, but when you have children, for the most part, you're supposed to take that time to become a better parent. Like there's handbooks for parenting, but I mean, really, who reads those? It's kind of like learn as you go here. And for many people, first time parents or not, when you have a child, you change your dynamics and your lifestyle and your the way you approach things and look at things differently because you have a child now. But then there's people who don't do that. They stay stuck in their same ways and their same routine of things because that's what they're used to. So to each his own. But I've been a parent since I was 20 years old. And I'm 30, 12 years later. So for me, it kind of is the norm. And again, like I said, I'm only kind of reminded that, damn, I'm doing this alone. One, when that bills, extracurricular activities, anything involving school where it's just me showing up. But if I don't show up, they have no one to show up for them. So 2 daughters, 2 dads. You know, if any young listeners are listening, or even any older people who don't have children, or maybe they do have children, the best advice I can give to you is to make sure that you know the person you're dealing with. And that's not to say that if you were dating or married for multiple years that it wouldn't work out, because life happens. But it's to make sure that that person that you are giving your temple and your goods to is worth it. Because for me, I was just young and I wasn't, I guess, valuing myself. Because if I did, neither one of them would be connected to me in this way. But like I say, like, life is a game. It's how you play it. You got to play to win. So, you know, you get knocked down 8 times, you got to get up 9. You get knocked down 9 times, you got to get up 10. I can't stop parenting and being a role model for my children because of what other people are or are not doing. Because then that would kind of make me like them. Do I get tired? Yes. Is there a day I don't want to parent? Oh, absolutely. Do I want to wake up one day and not have to prepare lunches and drop offs and pay tuition and parent teacher conferences and yeah. Do I want to wake up on Saturday mornings and not have to take nobody to dance? Yeah. Do I want to live freely and vacation and do all kind of things and take jobs that I wouldn't be able to take necessarily because I have to? Yeah, all of it. But this is my life. These are my cards. And I'm just playing my hand the best way I know how. I am not perfect. I am not the best mom. But people give me my flowers because they think I'm doing well. For me, I'm still trying to get to better. I moved here for better opportunities for my children, for a better future, for a safer environment, for more stimulation, for better opportunities for myself. So if I'm going to be their role model, I have to now make wise and smart choices because I have 2 daughters. I don't have any sisters, and I always wished I had a sister. And for some reason, God has blessed me with 2 daughters in sister form. So that's my story, y'all. And for anyone who's upset with what I shared, that's on you. I'm not sharing these things to belittle anybody. I'm sharing this because this is my podcast. And if I'm going to rave about anything, I'm going to rave about who I am and the things I've been through and are still currently going through because I'm the host. I don't want to bring all these people on for you to dive into their personal life and their struggles, trials, tribulations, their happy moments, and you don't even know anything about me. So that's why I'm giving you me, your host, Raven Miller, 2 daughters, 12 and 3. Single mom, single parent, depending on what child I'm talking about. But this is episode 3, y'all. We got through it. One thing I do want to ask you guys to do is follow me on my platforms. So we have IG, which is What You Raving About _podcast. We have Facebook, What You Raving About. We have Twitter. I don't know if people still use Twitter like that, but I do want to engage on Twitter because I have questions that I want to start doing, especially when I start having my live episodes. I would like to engage with my audience through some kind of platform, whether it's Twitter or YouTube or whatever the case. So Twitter is WYRA_podcast. And we have, of course, YouTube, What You Raving About podcast. So if you guys are listening on the Anchor app, you can also download it on Spotify, What You Raving About podcast. So hopefully soon I'll be on iTunes. I'm still waiting for them to give me my approval. But until next time, y'all, I hope that y'all stay safe, make wise choices, live your life unapologetically. Don't let nobody tell you you can't, and do it afraid. I love y'all. Until next time, be blessed.